Suicide is a public health concern increasingly impacting veterans, especially those living in rural communities. And now a new program is offering support and strength for local veterans. Joining us now to talk more about that is Susan Beckmer. She's the executive director of Together with Hill Country Veterans. Good morning, Susan. She's joining us live from Kerrville this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
And Susan, as I understand, you are a fairly new organization. Talk about what your mission is behind it and how you're helping veterans in rural communities.
I'd be happy to. Suicide, of course, is a major public health problem, and it's also preventable. Preventing veteran suicide is the top priority of the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs in the VA. And the data report of 2015 among U.S. veterans were 2.1% higher than suicide among non-veteran adults. There is the Veterans Administration of Suicide and Mental Health have partnered with the Rocky Mountain Mental Illness Research Education, which is the number crunching part, and they in turn have partnered with the education folks called MEREC, and that's how we came to be. It was taking a look at the map of Texas, and it determined what had a high veteran population, what the suicide numbers were, and it turned out that in the Kerrville area we qualified on 3 identifiers. So back in February there was a town meeting to say, is the community interested in launching such a program? So on June 1st we got started. Our job is to promote connectedness among the community. It's community driven, and my job is to make that happen.
And tell us about Tell us about some of the things that you'll be offering this year.
Well, so far, with September being the Suicide Prevention Month, we've offered Lunch to Learn suicide prevention virtual programs each Friday in September, which was pretty well attended. We have 1 more to go. We have also partnered with the National Alliance on Mental Illness, actually out of San Antonio. We have a veteran-led support group, and we also have, also with the National Alliance on Mental Illness, classes for family members. My position is to create a connectedness among communities so that we can intervene prior to the crisis, and locating veterans in that period of crisis. Let's become noticers. Let's learn about suicide, what the signs are, and my job is to educate communities that want to learn more about it. I'm here to start a conversation, and with all the support I have with the Veterans Administration and various companies, we are able to do that. I will be creating an infrastructure, so to speak, among health caregivers, veteran service providing. Oh Lord.
Great. Well, that sounds great, Susan. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we have all those links on our website as well, so you can, if you need to check that out later. So thanks so much for joining us.